2020 has been exhausting. Anybody gonna disagree with me? But we're coming into summer. Summer bodies are upon us. People are trying to get in shape, but they still want to enjoy things like ice cream. What's the alternative? Banana ice cream. But we're doing it with some vanilla Greek yogurt on top of the frozen banana to get a really nice creamy texture. So come along with me in this video. I'll give you the banana nice recipe that I've been using for years, back when I was super into fitness, way more than I am now. And let's get into this. So now for this recipe, all of the measurements will be down in the description below in a recipe list, but I'll say them right now and we'll mention them a little bit once we start actually making the ice cream. And it's 2 frozen bananas, just your average size. 1 container of yogurt. You can use a dairy alternative or a regular yogurt, just a regular yogurt. I use Greek yogurt, Oikos. One thing that I've noticed though, when I used to make banana ice cream when I was vegan, so I was using the alternative yogurts, is they're a little bit more wet. I guess they're thinner. So you're not going to get as creamy of a texture, so you might want to freeze it or add a little bit more ice or a little bit less water. You just play around with that a little bit if you're having issues, because they are just thinner and it's not the same sort of outcome that you're going to get from a thicker, creamier, full dairy yogurt. So just keep that in mind, but works perfectly well with the dairy alternative yogurts. Also, if you want vanilla extract, I like it because it adds an extra punch of vanilla flavor to my vanilla Greek yogurt. I use about a 1/4 teaspoon, but you can also use a 1/2 if you want even more vanilla, or dial it back to an 1/8, but I definitely recommend at least a splash of it. To top it, we're just going to be using a little bit of honey. I don't know why this is the only ingredient that I'm showing you, but a little bit of honey. Also topped with strawberries and chia seeds. I don't think I forgot anything. You need a blender. Okay, so for this vanilla ice cream recipe, vanilla ice creams are honestly, the base of them is incredibly simple. It's banana, and sometimes you add water if you don't have a powerful enough blender, like me. I'm just using this Ninja Professional. It's a couple years old. It doesn't blend the greatest when it comes to just like frozen berries or frozen banana. I always have to add a little bit of liquid, but once it gets going, it's great. It's just getting going is very difficult for this thing after a couple of years of continuous use. I don't know if the blades are just dull now or if this blender is just not strong enough, this model of it, because I see some of like the hardcore, just the really top tier Ninja blenders being incredibly good. Maybe this one's just not as good at blitzing up completely frozen things without some sort of liquid to help get it going. So that being said, with your 2 bananas, I will also include about 4 to 5 tablespoons of water, which I have right here. And all of the ingredients for this will be in the description. Again, it's super basic. In a way to get a creamier texture, I actually use this Greek yogurt. Let's see, it's just trying to focus on my face. There we go. I use the Oikos Greek yogurt. You can use the 000 Greek yogurt, or you can use their Oikos, this blue one. Vanilla. This is a vanilla ice cream, and to reinforce that vanilla flavor, we're also adding about an 1/8 to a 1/4, and if you really want to get a big vanilla punch, 1/2 of a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So let's get to blending this up. So we're starting with our 2 frozen bananas. They're cut up rather small, as you can see. Again, because this blender is not the greatest, I actually do it about 1 banana at a time, so it's 1/2 the bag at a time, and that just helps it get going for the final product. Now we're going to add in the Greek yogurt. I'm adding about 1/2 of the Greek yogurt because, again, I'm just making this about 1/2 at a time. It's just the way that my blender works best. If you have a really good blender, just throw it all in at once and let it go. But in order for this thing to get the consistency that I want, I have to go 1/2 at a time. Otherwise, I'm afraid I'm just going to break the blades of the blender from just not being able for it to go through anything. It's just gonna stop and it's just gonna chip away at the blade. So to avoid that, I'm going half of this at a time. So now we'll grab a spoon. So that's half of the bananas, half of the Greek yogurt. I'm also going to, at this point, add just half of the water. The water is completely optional again. It's just if your blender needs that to help it get going. My blender just cannot get through banana and yogurt. It needs a little bit of extra water to help really get through things. So now I'm going to speed this up, otherwise it's going to be incredibly loud. Well, speeding it up doesn't change the volume, but I'm going to speed it up and mute it. Listen to some nice music, I guess, during this. Okay, so this is what we're looking like right now. It's got a nice little hole there. Think what you will of that. So now we're just going to add the rest of it, and it's got a nice base now to really be able to start going through it once I add more of the frozen banana, but it's got to have that base there or else this blender's not getting through it. So we're going to add the rest of our ingredients now, including this vanilla extract. I'm going a 1/4 teaspoon, but again, if you want extra vanilla punch, go for a half. I would say if you want less vanilla and you want more of your flavor to come from whatever you're going to top this with, go to an 1/8. But I think having a little bit of the extract in there really does help. So now a big thing when it comes to making things like banana and ice cream is your blender, if it's working too hard like this one, like right here, the base is starting to get warm, it might start to melt it while you're blending it just because it's heating up the frozen banana while it's blending, and you're gonna get more of a soft serve consistency. You can fight that by adding more ice or freezing it. I like to freeze it. I'm not a big fan of adding that extra ice and just adding more water to it and diluting it. So I actually just freeze it for close to 2 hours. So this is something that you can, again, have it more of a soft serve consistency, kind of like a melting soft serve. And ice cream's never gonna get the same consistency of normal ice cream that we're used to. So you're gonna want to freeze it or add extra ice to get closer to that consistency of ice cream, but you're not gonna be able to mimic it, at least not at a home kitchen with what we've got. So now that I've finished up blending it, let's look at it. So this is the part, let's go up here. Okay, now I can see you. Now that we're completely blended, it's not watery, but it's not frozen. So like I just said, I like to freeze mine before I consume it. You don't have to. It's a very soft serve consistency, and let me actually get a bowl and show you exactly what I mean. So if I pour this out right now, it's like a melted soft serve ice cream. Not like completely melted, if it'll focus on that. It's not completely melted. It's still got, it can move, but it's still got some structure to it. So you can add more ice to help kind of crystallize it more like ice cream or harden it more like ice cream, or you can put it in the freezer. That's up to you, but through the power of television, even though this is YouTube, I've already got one in the freezer. So let me go get that, and I'll show you what it'll look like after about close to 2 hours in the freezer. So again, through the power of television or YouTube, this is the one that was in the freezer. You can see it's not running, it's frozen. It's got much more consistency of ice cream. And let me grab a spoon and I'll kind of show you that. So now, it can still run through. It's like a very creamy, soft serve ice cream. It's much closer to just, it can hold its form. It's not running along the bowl as much as it was with the other one. This is closer to what you want. Again, you're not gonna get the ice cream consistency, but you can get dang close. And it tastes absolutely amazing. But what are we, I don't know where I was going with that. I really don't. But let's dress it up. Before we get into dressing it, you can see here like the difference between, this is the one we made in the video. This is the one that I made and put in the freezer. This one like didn't shake at all, and this one is, I mean, it's liquid. So that's just, again, you can eat it like this, freeze it. I recommend freezing it. One, it's a little bit colder because it hasn't been getting blitzed up. And the texture is just to die for if you're trying to have a healthier ice cream alternative. So now here we are with the final product. You can see that little bit of honey drizzle around it. I'm incredibly excited to eat this. It's been sitting out of the freezer for probably about 20-30 minutes now, so it's starting to warm up and get a little bit runny. But that was it. I'm gonna dive into this. I'm super excited to eat it. But first, I gotta get some nice shots of it.